Welcome to the Everyday Awesome Project, where we bring you inspirational stories and game-changing strategies to live your most awesome life. Hey, superstars, welcome back. Polly here.
And Sam, what's up, beautiful humans? How are you all?
Hey, you guys. So today is the day that you and I were not sitting in the same room together, but almost a year ago to this day, we were getting together for our first podcast. Woohoo!
I know.
Right?
It's unbelievable. We launched at the beginning of 2024, and actually we went live on January 1st, I believe,
There you go.
2024.
Yeah, yeah. And
And we'll talk
so,
about that episode. But here
yeah,
we are reviewing our year.
yeah, this
We're
is like
reflecting
right?
on
And
the art we created together. What the hell? Take a look at us. We're creative souls in the universe making art.
Totally, totally. And it's so nice when you reflect. It's like I was saying, so if you can't see us, if you're listening to this, but Samantha sits in her office and she has this wall of medals that she's accumulated, right? And it's like these evidence. It's like physical evidence of the miles, the sweat, the hours, the learnings, right? Of
The
all of those
learnings.
experiences that you had, right? And so if you look inside of Samantha, all the lessons that she takes with her, the outward reflection is just this, this wall of beautiful medals and stuff. And so until we give ourselves that opportunity to reflect, but like I've done times where I'll sit and I'll look at a medal that I received and I viscerally remember the moments it took leading up to it, or the experiences in that race, or like what the feeling was afterward, or whatever, right? And so it's these moments where we take time to take those lessons with us, get the juice, and give ourselves kudos, like, hey, we've come this far.
Well, you used the word received,
Mm.
earned.
Or
So
yeah.
all of us humans, everybody listening right now has earned this year.
Yeah.
We made it to the end of the year.
Mm.
Okay, people. So
Mm.
I'm sure we did some things not so great and some things great, and everything in between
Mhm.
transpired,
Mhm.
right? We learned a tremendous amount about ourselves, which is the number one priority,
Mm.
to evolve thyself and
Mm.
know thyself, right? So
Mhm.
there is a earning, a way of doing the work called living, that when we get to the end of a year out of our life, it's quite remarkable.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
quite remarkable.
And I've noticed until I started doing year-end reviews, and there's another episode that we have that's on how to do a year-end review if you ever want to do that. But you sort of just keep bumbling along through the day-to-day of life, and you don't actually like take in like, holy cat, like we were, you and I before we started taping this, you're like, yeah, I'm
What
enjoying,
happened this year?
yeah. And I was like, oh, do you remember those first 6 or 8 months of the year where you were really engulfed in that project that you had? And it's
Oh,
like,
this work project just swallowed me.
right. And you're like, oh yeah, I did all
I
of
put it
that.
out of my mind because it was so horrendous. Isn't that funny? And I was like, I don't know really what I did the first half. And you're like, oh, I do.
Yeah. Remember
I
that?
know what happened the second half.
Remember that circus you were playing in and
Oh, yeah,
navigating? So we,
totally.
we just want you, we invite you to join us as we do a little bit of reflecting on, the kickoff of our podcast, like what the
Oh,
creative,
dude.
the energy we had with that and where we've come, through this year. And we want to, inspire you and invite you to do the same for yourself out of this. It's like, what are you up to? What's, what creative juices, what creative expression are you taking on or could take on if you haven't, that you might hear some inspiration out of our story today.
Yeah. So specifically about the Everyday Awesome Project podcast that we
Yeah.
launched a year ago.
Yeah.
Our number one episode was on the pivot year. And so we're going to talk about pivoting as the second half of today's show. But I want to just read the first. Oh, it's so freaking good. Read a little nugget from the description of the first podcast that we launched. So entitled Embracing Change, the Power and Growth of Life's Pivot Moments.
Hmm.
Here we go. As the sun rises on the new year in our first episode of the Everyday Awesome Project podcast, we launched together on this journey into becoming our own change agents. Let's peel back the layers in the next 30 minutes as to what it really means to pivot in life. Coaches Polly and Sam open their hearts to you, sharing the raw emotional journeys that led to our own personal pivot years. reflecting on times when our old blueprints were no longer to the house/life we lived in. From addiction, business failure, divorce, eating disorders, family dysfunction, broken down brains and bodies, we dissect the courage and the self-respect it takes to chart a new course. Sharing how the burning of the boats is often required to chart a new course towards profound growth and opportunity that come from realigning your actions with your deepest values. Boom. Boom. That was our first episode. What the? And you know what was fun about that? We sat out in the desert and we videotaped it, and we literally were sitting in the middle of the desert. It was the most beautiful experience. And we launched our year in this art form of ours called the Everyday Awesome Project.
So good. And what I love is, like, as I was hearing you reading that, it was like beautiful words, and then you got into that chunk where it was like, and the dysfunctional relationships and the eating disorders and and I was like, and we were our messy lives, you
So
know.
messy.
So it's such a messy faith, whatever, and yet there's growth in those, right? There's insights that come from not doing what you're supposed to be doing, not doing what lights you up, not living the life that feels good to you, right? And I mean, one of the things we've said over and over, and we always say as our tagline, is like, how your life feels is more important than how it looks. And I find that that's just streamed through every thread of what our message is underlying everything. Is if your life isn't feeling good, pivot, right? Like take that opportunity, do something. And that's where I think the inspiration, and I'll just hold up this book that I was taking on at the beginning of this year, and now I'm at like day 330, whatever it is, or the end of it. It's like, yeah, life's less messy moments or whatever show you more truly what you are wanting to do, right? Like what your heart wants to do, what feels good to you. And when it's not looking good, feeling good, showing up the way that you're not showing up in alignment with how you feel deep inside, there's often you can feel it, you sense it, right? And
You
pivot
sense it.
and take something on. So can I read? I love what you just read. That's our artistry right there. I want to read a page that might like set a little tone for us in this.
Don't send them on a mission pivoting just yet.
Not
Check
yet?
this out.
Okay.
Stand by.
Okay.
Check this out. So in our audience, there's plenty of people that have not heard all of our podcasts, of course. And why the hell not? Excuse me. Hello. So just for a quick, this is for our sake as well as the audience's, some of the many things that we've talked about in the course of the year, or the elements around pivoting, reinvention, self-exploration, all of that. All right, here's a couple of the episodes. We talked about emotional fitness. We ran a 30-day challenge. We talked about resistance to change, championship mindset, transformation. We had some great guests on our show. Investing in the self. 7 keys to habit change. Fear of failure and success. 5 to thrive. Remember that? 5 to thrive.
So good.
Not always awesome. Navigating life's chaos with grace. Again, other guests. Boundary badass. That was a good one. Boundaries. Heck yeah. Guess. Raise your standards. Okay. Quite a few guest episodes. And I mean, these guests are freaking legit badassery. Pause and reflect. You doing your Iron Woman event and sharing stories around that. You did yours earlier in the year in the spring. I did mine in the fall. Masterminds and creating circles for accountability. Leading A-teams. We put a lot of work on this A-teams. There's a whole mini series on just building and navigating an A-team.
Being an A-team player. Yeah.
Being an A-team player. Exactly. 7 signs of burnout. Red flags and resolutions. Motivation versus willpower. Fueling the fire. Empowering yourself. 3 empowering F's to live by. Fun, free, and fricks. From party to purpose, making your birthday count. How to combat anxiety. How to find the right fitness program for yourself. Making peace with food. Living your life as art, like we are doing right now. satisfaction, the power of saying yes,
Mhm.
friendships, grace and gratitude, drive versus motivation, recalibration, how to hit reset on your nervous system. I have some solo episodes in here, and so do you, where we basically talk to the audience in these short little mini forums around what
Mhm.
was going on at that moment for us and how we wanted to share.
Mhm.
So it's a really diverse selection of over 50 episodes
Mhm.
of us in dialogue with the listener, who is a fellow human being that we so love and cherish, and really doing whatever we can to help support them on their journey. I just love that quilt that we've created so far this year. It's quite remarkable. It
Yeah.
really is. I had to just throw that out there before
And
we.
as I hear about those things, I'm like, oh yeah, that's is a part of who we are. That is, yeah, we have done that. Oh yeah, and just remembering those conversations and the important moments of those things and what you and I as coaches and our blending bring together, is just this yummy for us. If you're listening to this, I hope you find these to be yummy and enriching and, like
Mhm, mhm.
that it's like this yummy weaving together of our worlds and our experiences and our magic to help bring what we can to people's lives and help
Yeah.
them in little ways and like big, like, we talked about like dinging the side of their bowl, like ding, wake up, like, hey, remember you're awesome. Hey, remember you can have an awesome day. Hey, remember you can change the story, whatever, or, remember that inner light inside of you, like you've got it inside of you already, or like, don't fret with how it looked or how, it looks to the outer world. Do your thing. Like, be
Mhm.
authentic and stuff. These are yummy, yummy episodes. I love that.
You know what's cool? Well, there's many things, but like we both have, we coach humans, okay, in life, in business, in health and wellness, and all of these different aspects. And we're humans.
Mm.
I mean, hey, go figure, right? So what's great about this podcast is we're sharing our knowledge and experience working with others and what we see and what has helped, etc.
Mhm.
At the same time, we share our stories, our real life sufferings and
Mhm.
overcomings and transformations, right? So
Mhm.
it's really a showcase into, in my opinion, humanity. And
And
that's what we'll continue to do.
our continual evolving and expanding and up leveling is a part of who we are and where the audience is going with us as well. It's
Yeah.
like we
Hmm.
we expect
Hmm.
you, if you're listening to this, to be on your own journey of, I mean, you naturally are, if you're in a human body,
You
you
can't really fight it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, okay, like stating the obvious, right? But it's like this evolving. We hope you just evolve more into who you truly are and authentically, and less of what doesn't work for you, what other people are dictating for you, or whatever. And you're so good at that. Like you've got like a clear, honed compass of like, I am and I'm not. Like tell a quick story about there was a recent holiday moment where you're like, "Eh, I'm doing that, So, and we're probably going to do a whole episode on this, but like you're so
Yeah.
clear what you are and what you are not that you can just speak that to people, right?
Yeah. We are constantly in environments with other humans and can be greatly influenced by our surroundings and the people that we share this life with, coworkers, family members, whatever the dynamic is, friends. And yeah, just recently I was just sharing a story with you about being in a family environment where there was an expectation, of course, coming out of the holidays, everyone's got no shortage of these examples, to be doing a certain thing around food and around an experience. And I just said, well, I'm not interested in that. End of story, period.
Period. Yeah.
There isn't really a conversation about, right. So I didn't want to participate in that particular food experience. It was going to be, it just in no way, shape, or form was it going to serve my health,
Mhm.
mental or physical,
Mhm.
by the way.
Mhm.
And so I didn't want to partake. I wasn't rude about it. I wasn't disrespectful. I just said, I'm not interested in that. So I
Mhm.
won't be going to that
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
And then
And
that's
that's
it.
and
I
that's
don't
how
need
you
to
do it.
explain anything else. I don't need to get into a debate about it. I don't need to navigate the complexity of the others'
Yeah.
emotions around
Yeah.
how they feel about me not wanting to do this. By the way,
Right.
I don't own that. They own that. I
Yeah.
own my experience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I felt great. I felt totally at peace and completely comfortable and went on about my own evening as
Mhm.
I wanted to care for
Mhm.
myself
Yeah.
in that moment. And by the way, they all got over it, right? They went on and did their thing and they were just fine. Like, I'm not the center of the universe. And everybody's happiness and comfort and satisfaction doesn't revolve around what the hell I'm doing.
And their moment isn't made any less because you're not in it. It's not like, oh, if the thing isn't going to happen if Samantha's not there. It's like, no, Samantha's just not going to participate. Y'all can have the thing still happen and it's your experience. Like, go ahead, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the clarity of that particular example, and there's many things like this, in saying no, is that you're not rejecting them or what their choices are. I, it's completely up to them to do whatever they want to be doing, and maybe
Yeah.
that's all wonderful for them. I'm not saying, ooh, that's bad. I'm not labeling, I'm not doing this whole drama around it. I was simply stating the fact, right?
Mhm.
If they felt rejected or feel rejected by that, again, that's their story. But I didn't do anything to place that emotion on the table. I made it
Totally.
about me. And it's
Yeah, no.
incredibly empowering and
And
liberating.
and that's a
Do
pivot.
this all day long, by the way.
Right.
All day long.
And this is like a pivot moment, so I would just share, I was thinking about all the pivots that I've been through this year, and one of them is
You've been
around
through a lot of
been
pivots.
through a couple of and I think I may have said in the episode, I was revisiting the transcript, I think I said, and I'm entering a pivot year. I was like, I kind of knew it was coming, didn't know all the things, like what
Right.
I like, okay, maybe I saw one coming, but I didn't see 15 or whatever, four or whatever it was. But one of them for me was also around, and I'm just gonna say, so my mom and I have a evolving dynamic in our relationship. It's never been that lovey-dovey, close, tight-knit that some mother-daughters have.
Traditional.
Yeah, it's not like fairyland and whatever. So it's it has felt anyway, I'm not sure how it feels on her side, but it has felt a bit one-sided on my end, and so I just stepped back. So last year, so in 2023, last year of, so whenever you're listening, so in 2023, my mom had a lot of health challenges and health, not scares, but needs. So she was in and out of the hospital probably, or she was in and out of the ER, I think 8 times. And they'd send her home, it wasn't true health scare kind of thing. There were a couple times she did go in and whatnot. So there was a lot of me like, having to tend to her
Responding.
and, being there for her and like taking time off what I was doing for weeks to go visit her, help her transition out of a recovery center and her, things like that. And then this year, I think she got the hint that like going to the ER like doesn't really produce
Not
the outcome.
helpful.
Yeah, it doesn't produce the outcome I think she was looking for. And then she has since, I think, seeing that how that first last year went, decided, okay, well, that's not going to get me the results that I'm looking for or something. Anyway, so this year hasn't been as health scary. But now she's in an assisted care, right? And for me, that was like, I don't know anybody that cares for an elderly parent or has ever done that. I did some of this with my dad, his end of life. And I had very little burden. My dad was not mentally challenged. He wasn't losing his mind. He was very adept. He was very physically challenged in a wheelchair for the last 10 years of his life, kind of thing. But he had his senses about him or whatnot. So he could care for himself as, best you can in a wheelchair and whatnot. So the burden on me was not a great one. Like people who have mentally challenged family members or physically challenged family members in their life where it's very disruptive. Um, so when you take on that weight and that care of an elderly family member, it can take away from a lot of other energy that you have going in. So
Oh, 100%.
having the ability for my mom to go into assisted care is this huge, let's say, burden I don't have to have. And I don't, it's, some people would say, oh, of course you want to take care of your parents and stuff like that. If you haven't done it, caring for elderly people, it can be a lot. Anyway, so there's great people that are caring for her now. And I just realized how much the one-sided feeling of this relationship was in my life. And I hadn't been, there was a lot of stories I was telling myself about good daughter and, like, what are my expectations of myself? And
Obligations,
yeah, and like,
society's obligations.
yeah, and what I regret if I wasn't caring and all this stuff. And I just, and part of what we can maybe share in like the process of looking at pivots or when things aren't working in your life is you really have to take a deep look inside. And so I really needed to go inside and go, is this serving me? Is this the best thing for me and or her, but me first and foremost? And what would I like it to be and how to feel and whatnot. And that's where I had a conversation with myself about how involved do I want to be? How much energy do I want to put, just like all of this evaluating, coming to terms with myself, what's my story about this? Because some people be
Mm,
like, so like I didn't go see her for Thanksgiving, this whatever. And so I was just having inner dialogue. And there's moments like that, like birthdays, Thanksgiving, whatever, that like traditionally, like, oh, you go see your parents or whatever.
mhm,
And I was
mhm,
like, how do I feel about that? And the first and foremost thing, I think you and I's tagline just really guides me. Like it's just this beacon is like,
mm,
how would going up there feel for me? Excuse my
mhm.
fucking French, but it would feel like shit the whole time. Like it just, I knew it wouldn't be a pleasant experience. About 60% of the time with my mom, it's pleasant.
Turmoil.
Well,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah. Well, 40% of the time it's just drama and turmoil,
Mhm,
and it's like being with a 2-year-old brat, or worse, because it's an adult and they can make bigger havoc than a little 2-year-old, if you will.
mhm,
And so I was like, that just doesn't sound appealing. Kind of like you saying, I'm not going to this meal. I'm not. So that's been a pivot for me, is like
mm.
the years gone by where I felt obligation to try and make her Thanksgivings or holidays as pleasant as possible, whatever, all this for her, and putting aside my own sense of well-being or how would I feel.
Peace.
Yeah, all those things. And this year I'm like, what's in my best interest first, not at the
Mhm.
expense of, not like, oh, I'm denying her something or whatever, because she's in assisted care. So she's got like all these people
She has everything she needs. Yeah,
taking
her
care
needs are
of.
being met.
And,
She's
and
not
yeah, I'm not like like she's sitting at home
she's
alone
not
and
being
she,
neglected.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, they're like, they gave her a bigger birthday party than I could have.
She's
She's
the
like, oh my
queen
God, my
there.
birthday was amazing. And all these people came. And I was like, yay,
It's awesome. Yeah.
And I was like, how would I feel like rushing up there to be just like one in her little, I was like, no, no, not doing it. So that was just
Yeah.
one of my pivots, was taking a look at the experience I was having, what the story I was making around that, and what would, like you said, like what would feel good for me in this moment, right?
Well, you took that whole relationship, which is a lifetime long relationship of challenge, if you will, good, bad, indifferent challenges, and you created a different relationship with yourself to
Mhm.
that individual. And we
Mhm.
can all do this exact same thing with our relationships to others, with our relationship to self, with our relationship to our work life,
Mhm.
to our financial life, to our health life, to our community. Like at any moment, we can change that entire relationship
Mhm.
and how we want it to be moving
Mhm.
forward. We're
Mhm.
not forced to do these things, right? To be a certain
Right.
way. I mean, people do
Right.
feel family expectations as an example of what you and I just talked about, but societal
Mhm.
expectations, around success or money or how we live, how we look towards the outside world, that whole thing.
Mhm.
That's a relationship to ourselves that we can decide is no longer working for us,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? If I decide I no longer want to have long hair, I can cut it off,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? We
And
have so many choices.
yeah, and you and I
Just
have had these
mind-boggling.
experiences as I think about the health challenges you had in your younger years, and
Tremendous, yeah.
and yeah, and you turn that all around and you made completely different choices that totally changed the trajectory of your life ever after, right?
Oh, yeah,
Like
100%.
huge.
Mhm,
And me with like the choices I was making inside of the confines of an eating disorder, and then transforming that and like who I, became and saw myself as. And so these opportunities, these experiences in life we come upon, and it's in those moments we have to look at, is this serving me? Is this in my well-being? Is
mhm,
this
mhm,
one of the things I was going to reflect on is like our first step, let's say, in a pivot is like looking at what's not working in your life.
mhm,
Like what's
mhm,
not working. And I think we wholeheartedly want to remind people you have the power, you have the choice, even if it doesn't look like you have a choice. Action and inaction are both choices, right? And the story we tell ourselves in those moments can totally change the experience of it. So some of what I was doing in that moments with my mom was I was letting go of a story that I was a bad daughter if I
mm,
didn't show up, every holiday or everything like that. I was like, who the fuck made that? Like, that's just a
mm,
story that I'm looking in the outer world at like, oh, these daughters go and do these things, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the dynamic I have, and that's not feeling good for me, right? And so I let go of that story of that's what a good daughter. It's like, no, I would rather be known as somebody who takes good care of themselves and looks after their
Mm.
needs instead of somebody else's as a priority over and above, right?
I made a massive pivot, I just realized as you're talking,
Yeah.
on how I view my work life and my career.
Mm,
And basically, what I did is I determined early in the year, because some things weren't great and satisfying in my work life and in my career trajectory, that I was no longer going to identify a story I had with being in charge and being the boss and
mm,
running the show and doing all the things. Okay, I obviously have those capabilities because I've done that,
mm,
but it was no longer serving me to play that
mm,
role. And I no longer had an interest, didn't even want to do that role in opportunities I was getting. And so a couple things transpired with job opportunities and project opportunities and different roles and all that. And I kind of sifted through it, if you will, like flour, going through the sifter, and made a decision and then pivoted that I would no longer go after those roles, accept those roles, or take them on. And it was really interesting to watch the people around me be like, yeah, but that's who you are. You have those skills. You need to be doing that. Huh? I need to be doing that. What the hell? I don't want to be doing that. And so then I pivoted really and was looking for
yeah,
opportunities, roles, projects where I was a teammate, a
yeah,
team member, a
yeah.
person contributing to a whole. And
Mhm.
and even if they were community projects or paid work projects or whatever the dynamic was, event production and all that, I was in picking different roles.
Yeah.
And how much more fun it got and how much more alive I felt. I was still able to contribute all of my gifts, but I didn't have to be at the helm of anything.
Yeah.
I
And
was just one of the people.
and your natural leadership always shows up wherever you show up, right? And so these like golden rods or these, things were held out and dangled in front of you, like, hey, maybe we could, go up a rung or you could take on more or whatever.
Yeah.
And you seriously were like, let me look at that. No,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Y-
Yeah, no.
You looked at it and went, okay, what would that entail? Yeah, I've got the gifts for that.
My
Yeah.
ego though would say, well, yeah, more money, more
Looking
prestige,
good,
more,
looking
more,
good.
more, 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 more. And I was like, excuse me, ching, bye.
And
Yeah.
it's like how I want to
Oh,
feel in this, right? Like I think you, like for
oh,
example, these World Championship Ironman events that you produce and are just a part of this amazing team that travels around the world, right? And
rock star team.
yeah, this
And
this
I want to just be on the team playing the bass guitar.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And it's so fun. And maybe
yeah.
I can't play the bass, so I play the drums this time or whatever the
Mm-hmm,
thing is.
mm-hmm,
So those
mm-hmm.
are two examples of us. Let's dig more into this, but I really want you to read the passage.
Okay, okay. All right, so this, if you have the Pivot Year, this is a book by Brianna Weist that we've been referring to. It's called The Pivot Year, 365 Days to Become the Person You Truly Want to Be. And I would say you already are, but day 154, if you have that book. To truly pivot in life is not to move from one external path to another, but to stop navigating your course solely from the blueprint given to you over the years. It does not mean to turn in a new direction, but to first go inward to learn how to hear your own moment to moment instructions. It is to learn how to trust yourself, how to listen. It is to
Mm,
lead your life with a deeper degree of integrity. It is to not reconstruct your identity with pieces of what the world may deem more acceptable, but to deconstruct the notion that you must fit within a mold at all.
mm.
Yeah,
That is what it means to pivot.
yeah, yeah.
And we have been doing this all year.
Mm,
And so have the listeners, whether they have awareness around it or not. Some in varying degrees, obviously, right?
mhm.
We talk a lot about giving permission to ourselves and to others if they think that they need that, which they don't need that. We'll point out the obvious. We
Yeah,
we we say it lightly.
I just
Um,
remind you. Yeah.
yeah, a gentle reminder.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I wrote down some of the steps in case the listener needs to be walked through.
Hmm.
Now would be a time.
I just want to double click on listening. It's that something we've talked about before, like your inner compass, your inner knowing, intuition, whatever, guidance, whatever you want to call it, that if we're so, we have these two beautiful eyes and ears that like take in so much from the world, right? Like we can see the world, we can interpret it, whatever. Beautiful ears to hear things, what other people think, the stories that we want to take in from media, if you're watching social media and stuff like that. But damn it, your compass lies within, if you ask me. I think we're all born with it and we get a little distracted by the noise, the visuals, the complexity of the world. And we forget where the compass lies. We forget where the intuition is, and it's inside of us. And it's that listening, and I would say sensing also. So listen within, for the senses, the signals, the signs, the intuitive hits, the nudges, whatever guidance that you want to call it, and that's what you want to start to trust in more. That's what you want to tune
Hmm.
into. That's where the, how does this feel for me? And I think the examples that we just gave about these relationships that we were navigating, the outward signs and the outward signals I was getting, you were getting from the society that we live in would say, oh yeah, you should do that. Oh yeah, that's what that looks like for a relationship, or right. And we were both like, no, no.
Before you can listen now. And I love it because it says
Yeah.
in this, what you just read, stop, reflect,
Yeah.
and consider. Okay,
Mm,
if you can't do it at the end of the year,
yeah.
people are so busy, 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 right? They think they're needing to be doing all these things as the year and the holidays are here and all the demands increase. I mean, I would beg to differ. Is that really
Mm,
a requirement? No, it's not a requirement. These are choices if you choose to get all swirly and whirly at the end of the year. But you can also choose to stop, reflect, and consider.
mm,
You do a great process, and you're going to share that in an upcoming episode with the audience, and they should absolutely listen to that and do the work because you're going to lay out how they could do that. But
mhm,
just the process of stopping, reflecting, and considering,
mhm,
you can do it whenever you want.
mhm.
But I mean, I almost mandate you have to do it at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. At
I
least.
mean, because
Yeah.
if you're not doing it once in the course of a year and your life is made up of years, days, and moments and breaths,
Mhm.
when are you doing it?
Yeah. And it is moment to moment. You don't need a number on a calendar.
Mhm.
You just need a signal from your heart that it's time to pay attention to this. It's time to, right, pause and go inward and reflect and consider, like, where am I, not serving myself? Where am I giving over my power? Where am I saying yes when I mean no? Where am I letting
Mhm.
myself down? I'm not taking good enough care of myself or giving myself enough space or whatever that looks like, that um you don't need a date like, oh yeah, I'm going to wait until someday or some moment or something happens. People largely put things on this outer, like, oh, at the end of the month, end of the year, when the kids move out, whatever, excusitis. No, your life is now, right? Like I've been, I was going to tell you about this, but I've been listening to a lot of these near-death experience stories. Super
That's
fast.
a little kooky, but okay.
It's
Okay.
amazing. It's amazing. They're recounting. I mean, it's beautiful to hear the stories of like people just going through like staggering stories, but what they experience of spending time, let's say on the other side, right,
Mhm.
is so magnificent. It's there. Every one of them is like, I didn't want to come back into this body. Are you kidding me? Like this thing called life this is pretty damn hard. No, they're like, I'm home. I'm with my creator, whatever. I'm expanded being, not in this little thing called the body. And it's been so eye-opening that, like, and when they come back, right? So like
Mhm.
they spend minutes, 45 minutes, like a lot of time on the other side, you might say. And they're like, I don't know if it was 5 years or 5 minutes because it just feels so expanded, all this stuff that they experience. And then they get boom, popped back into their body. And a lot of them get sad because they're like, oh my God, that was so amazing. This is so challenging. Like life is filled with
Mm.
physicalness and the heart, whatever, bones breaking down, all those things. And it's like a lot of them come back and they just shift who they are fundamentally. They're just like, I can't look at the world the same way knowing this, right?
Good.
Right, right. And it's like, now what I want to get up to, right? Like, how can I make this time that I'm in this body as meaningful as possible, as joyful as possible, as whatever, expressive as possible? And you and I are big proponents of like, don't wait until that someday moment. Don't wait until some outer thing needs to happen before you take that opportunity to say, I'm not doing it this year. Like, yeah, I
Mhm.
know I've done all these Thanksgivings with you, but not doing it, right? And you don't need permission. You don't need a date on the calendar. It's moment to moment, like choosing this life is a precious gift. Treat it as such. Don't, we never know when that day is going to come.
Well, I think we have these opportunities all the time. It doesn't need to be a near-death experience. We coach people daily. I was just coaching somebody yesterday that's having a health
Mm,
scare,
mm,
and it looks like there might be a serious diagnosis. And of course, I have a couple other friends and family members who are in the middle of serious disease states that they are, battling with. And I was actually saying to her to take this opportunity to start journaling and
mm,
stop, reflect, consider, process what is actually going on in her body and mind, not what she's being told from medical practitioners or blood tests or this test or that, or reading on the internet about all the scary things that could be connected to this possible disease, right? What's going on inside of her, this human? How is
mm,
she feeling? How is she thinking? Also, how is she spending her time? What does her day look like now? Is it looking the way she'd like it to look?
mhm.
How is her sleep, nutrition? How is her exercise? How is her emotional state? What are her relationships like? What are all the things actually that she has agency over
Yeah.
and can be completely empowered by right now in this moment without even having a diagnosis or a treatment plan or any of these things that may or may not even come,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And just to see the revelation that went on in that moment of exchange we
Mm.
were having around her feeling like, I'm going to
Oh,
take this back into my power
wow.
and I'm going to focus my energy on this. So
Mm,
tangible, so
mm,
real, so
mhm,
reality based from her own personal experience.
mm,
And it's just all the time if somebody is having a health issue or financial despair or an addiction crisis, a mental health crisis. Like there's so many things that go on in our daily lives with people that we love and ourselves. If we do this very simple stop, reflect, consider, and then where you took us, listen, there's an internal knowing.
mm,
There's an internal process that needs to be happening for every single one of us
mm,
before a crisis moment, during a crisis moment, throughout our daily lives around
mhm,
just the everydayness of
mhm,
life,
mhm,
where we can continue to stay connected to ourselves.
mm,
It seems so basic and
mhm,
simple. And by the way, it's free. I mean,
mm.
it takes a notebook and a
Yeah.
pen, so it
Yeah.
might be a couple bucks. It takes a little time,
Yeah.
but that process alone, before we decide whether we need to pivot or not, how would we even know if we
Mm,
didn't do these very simple
mhm.
moments and acts, giving ourselves these gifts?
Yeah, and I like what you're highlighting too, because I was just talking with a friend who's made a profound pivot in her life. Really feels like she's found her calling and stuff like that. I
Mm,
was talking with her yesterday, and I
cool.
was like, how did you get to this? Really, she's 53. Like, man, I was like, when did this start? Like, I'm trying to remember, I've seen her, in the last year, and I was like, and when did you find that? And how did, like, and
Ah,
she's like, man, I was working with this, like, for her, really high paid coach. And she like put me through all these exercises and homework and stuff. And she's like, I don't even know which one of those. She goes, but out of that, she's like, I think she had like a 3 month project or, program. And then she's like, and in 5 weeks, I was like, I'm on it, like she like
mm,
found her thing and was like, whatever. And so, I think sometimes we need that outward structure or that outward support, coaching, you might say, to help
mm,
us do that reflection. Like give us homework, give us, because a lot of us, if you
yeah.
haven't been through, like you and I, a lot of self work and development or gone to a lot of these, let's say, events and programs to do that work, how does it begin? You're kind of like, I want to reflect, I want to consider, and we get into this little mental spiral that often just feels like, we're just like turning on the same old story. And it's like opening up the mind and breaking out of the confines. Sometimes, as Einstein says, is you can't solve the problems with the mind that created it, right? So, right? It's like you
That's
have
so
to
true.
see the problem through a different lens. She's like, I didn't even consider that I could be the one to do this thing that she's doing. She's become she wants to be a DJ,
Okay,
like
okay.
a DJ of experiences, not just like a DJ in a lounge or something like that, but like she wants to create transformative
Curated experiences.
kind of like sound baths and stuff,
Yes.
but she's like a DJ that works with people who do sound baths. And so
Okay.
creates, people do like ecstatic dance or whatever, movement and stuff like that. So she's like, I want to take people on movement exercises and journeys to have a transformative experience to open up to who they are and and stuff like that. Right.
Cool.
She's like, I was sitting, a year ago before I got on this journey, not even knowing that was even possible, or I could be the one, or what, and it just like cracked open her mind to a new possibility, a new level opened up for her, right?
Mm, mhm,
So
mhm. Yeah, so sometimes you need somebody else to reflect back to you,
ask you
and
questions
help
like you
you.
were, yeah,
Yeah,
like you.
prompting, maybe providing opportunities and ideas that may or may not resonate. Not somebody
Mhm,
telling you what to do, somebody
mhm,
who's creating a safe space for you to ask yourself
yeah,
and dig into yourself and then be able to express that and then see what happens.
yeah,
Like it's incredibly powerful to create these opportunities for others and for yourself
yeah.
and, make it happen, people.
Mhm,
Make it
mhm.
happen.
And some of them are smaller, like you and I've had, let's say, smaller pivots that I think we can do on our own. And then there's like bigger, not life crises, but they're bigger moves that have a bigger impact or a bigger ripple on either other people's lives or the course of your own life that, yeah, it might
Hmm.
need some support in making those decisions. So, yeah, so what I was saying as my, kind of other language for what you were talking about, the reflection is like, starts with recognizing what's not aligned, right? So like
Yeah.
realizing is shit ain't working. I don't feel good in this. Like something's whatever, you got resistance, you got friction, frustration, you can define it in emotional language. You're on the wrong side of the scale, i.e., nothing's feeling good. If it's feeling good, it's probably aligned, right? And then I would say, so my notes about going inside is like finding your inner truth, like
Mm.
reconnecting with your truth. The answers are inside. So lean towards your heart, not your rational mind, right? Life is made up of experiences and feelings. So recognizing those feelings and what you want to be feeling, and maybe you've been putting out effort or have to or should, shoulding experiences that don't feel good for you. That we both talked about
Don't
that.
should on yourself.
And then notice maybe there's stories that are happening inside that may need upgrading, letting go, or reframing, right? So for me, it was like I had to shed these stories about what a good daughter was or what, how I had to show up in the world. And I was like, no, I'm reframing that I take good care of myself. And if I opt to engage with, a family member, a relationship, other people, or whatever, I do that, but it makes me feel good. And I don't think it's going to make me feel good, I opt out, right? So I reframe those moments. So I just wanted to say that's my homework, or that's how I do the going inside step. So,
And then add trust. Trusting yourself.
mm, big one.
Right? Because a lot of people will do these things and then they'll waver back and forth. They
Mm,
won't have full commitment to the self,
mm,
self-compassion, self-love, self-investment. They'll have one foot in each camp. I'm over here doing the self with one leg, but this other leg is still in the camp of servicing
mm,
others first,
mm,
right? Self-sacrifice, all the things that we rationalize in these stories
mm,
around what is expected of us,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So get fully both legs this
mhm,
year in 2025 into the camp of you.
mhm,
Self
mhm,
love, self compassion, self respect, self investment.
mm,
Please. I mean, we just are urging at this point.
mm,
It's a
mm.
must do.
And we're taught as children, I think there's a phenomenon in the culture, a paradigm around like, oh, it's selfish, right? Oh, that's
Mm.
selfish and whatnot. And
Oh,
it's actually selfish
such
not
a
to.
toxic judgment.
Yeah, because like when we're better sourced, when we're better fulfilled and happier or taking care of ourselves, taking care of our needs first, right? We have more to give. We're like actually serving the collective. We're serving our family, our friends, our community
Dude,
better.
we're evolved.
Yeah.
Like we can actually become our best and highest potential. We're evolved people. Our
Mhm,
skills are evolved, our emotions are
mhm,
evolved, our
mhm.
capabilities and our bandwidth is evolved. Like the
Yeah.
amount of power in that
Yeah.
is tremendous. How I can show up now to be of service in whatever capacity is light years ahead of what I was doing 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago. It's just mind boggling,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I don't know what you have next on your like how these steps, but I would say that phase of like going inside, taking, and then like you just said, like so I take this from Tony Robbins is decide, commit, and resolve. Like out of this inner knowing and truth and having trust and faith, then decide what you're gonna, and then the next step is action or inaction. You're gonna take steps or you're gonna stop doing things like yes, say no's and mean them or whatever. So it's
yep.
decide, commit, and resolve. Like, okay, I'm not playing the part of some, programmed good daughter out there. I'm not playing the part of like I have to or should or whatever you think. This is the way my life is going to go. The script and the pen are in my hand. I'm writing this story. Right?
1000%. I have down change, move, act, and lead from a place of values and integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've decided, you're taking action, right? Hello. I mean, you can decide all kinds of things. I really want to be healthier this year, or change my job this year, or get out of this crappy relationship this year, whatever your thing is that you decided. But then you don't take action. What the hell is that? I mean, talk about letting down the self. How can you trust the self if you make a
Mm-hmm.
commitment to the self and then you don't take action towards it?
So true. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just not fair to the self.
And in our case, stop taking action, right? So it's you could say
Stop.
it's leaning towards the action towards self-care or
Mhm.
stopping the action that we were giving away care for ourselves and people pleasing or responsibility or something like that. And instead
Mhm.
taking care of self first and whatever we felt called to, whatever we feel like is ours. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
dig it.
mean, we always talk about this. It's an ongoing theme of our conversations around, the limited time we are here in
Mm,
this one body,
mm,
in this one heart, mind, in this one lifetime, right? It's not going to
mhm,
last forever, people. So
mhm,
again, a gentle reminder from Polly and Sam as to get busy,
mhm.
please.
Do it
Get
now.
busy. Yeah, and the end of the year is a great time to be like, okay, I'm going to stop, reflect, consider, but I'm not going to dwell. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be stuck in
Yeah.
how it didn't go that great this year,
Yeah.
but I'm going to recognize that it's time to do it differently. And I'm going to get busy taking the action, doing it differently
Yeah, and
or
it's,
small.
that serenity prayer is like, what is mine to act upon, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
grant me the acceptance of what I can't change. There's other people's, reflections on you or projections on you or expectations or whatever. It's like, can't change that, right? They're going to feel how they feel. Like you said, their hurt feelings or whatever. If you didn't go and do those things, it's like, okay, I can't change that. What can I take action on? What can I control? Like act on that. And the wisdom to know the difference. It's like a lot of us make these decisions, these choices out of, I don't want them to feel this way, whatever. It's like they're going to feel how they're going to feel, right? What do I have? What do you call it? What do I have? Agency over yourself,
Mhm.
right? And prioritizing self-care, so your needs, about, put you back on the table, in the playing field of the world, like you matter, right?
We hear a lot of time about people's limiting beliefs around money
Mhm.
and how it is a limitation around the choices that they make about their health and wellness,
Mhm.
maybe where they live or what they do with their spare time, for example, right? Like, so I can't go on these great trips or vacations. I don't have the money. So instead, I'm just going to be pissed off about it and do nothing. Or I'm going to eat at fast food because it's cheaper because that's what my budget allows. right? There's all these old stories around the limitations that we all are bumping up against. But, we are here to empower people to understand that there is no truth in a majority of these stories
Mm,
that we have told ourselves, that society tells us, that maybe our family tells us, right? And so a little bit of like debunking those stories is part of that process,
mhm,
in exploring what is possible. If
mhm,
I say my
mhm,
value system is health and wellness, or nutrition, or sleep, or, whatever, contributing to the world and my community, da 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 da,
mhm,
instead of all the limiting beliefs that surround why you're not doing those things, I think we should just right now give everybody permission to release them all.
mm, mm,
Literally, maybe you need to write them down, all of these excuses and limiting beliefs on paper, put them in the fire and burn them.
yeah, yeah. Shed what's not serving you. Shed it.
Yeah.
Just let it go. Let it go for
Yeah.
sure.
Because
No,
sometimes that's what stops you from the forward thinking and planning, is this,
yeah,
really heavy limiting belief system that you might have carried
yeah,
around for 50 years or whatever.
yeah. And I think one thing too, one of my next steps on this is like, so you take action or inaction, you do or stop doing something. And then the next step, as with business and in life, is you get feedback, right? So it's like, well, how did that go? Right? Like, how did not going to that event, that expected, thing, or how did saying no to that person, or how did stepping away from something, how am I now feeling? Do I feel more aligned? Do I feel less aligned? Like, oh, I have regrets. Like, no, actually, I think I would have had a better time, or something, right? Like check in with yourself again. Like you can always reconsider or reconnect, or, it's like, oh, well, maybe I don't want to not be in their life. Maybe I just want to be in their life in this way, right? Or maybe I don't want to, um, fast food and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, you overdid it in exercise, and you're like, holy cow, like I'm killing myself here, like, or this is way too much of a time commitment, or something like this doesn't serve you. Okay, just step it down to what feels good for you, right? So it's like get that feedback, get that like try something and then see how it goes. Try something, adjust, correct and continue as you go.
Get the feedback. But we're not talking about guilt and shame,
No, 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 no.
right? So a lot of times it will be like, oh, I got feedback. I felt so much guilt and so much shame around the
Oh,
XYZ do da. And I never want to feel that again. So I'm just going to keep doing that thing because that
well,
felt horrible. So to
mm,
be clear, you're not talking about that kind of feedback. You're
no.
talking about what is true for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say that guilt and shame is just a story you're telling yourself also, right? And so it's
100%.
it's just the lingering, feelings of, oh, I'm not doing that thing that I still have a story around that I ought to, right? Like I ought to, whatever, be doing these things. And it's like, well, if you are feeling pangs of guilt and regret, it's because you're still tied to that old story. So maybe there's more shedding, more layers of that story that need to be like, oh, but in that moment, it's like, but if you looked at how you felt aside from the story that you told yourself, like I ought to, how was your time not doing that thing? It's like, oh my God, I took care of myself. I ate a good meal, or I got some sleep or something. Like that's what you want to pay attention
Exactly.
to. Like that's the feedback that you want, not the lingering story. Because as you change, we talk about this, it's messy in the middle. It's like,
Mhm.
you might play this little ping pong game, even with yourself, like trying to go to bed earlier and get more sleep in your day. It's like, oh, I have to say no to these things that I used to do, or these habits that I had that weren't serving me. It's a little messy when your body kind of leans back into those old habits or old stories. So expect a little transition period and give yourself that grace that it could take you 30, 60, 90 or more days to really start to feel the momentum of that as well. So, and as with all pivots, right?
As with all pivots, as with all pivots. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
so good.
This was so
Okay.
good. What do we want to do? We got to wrap up here
Mm.
for our people. We can't keep them at our
That's-
disposal all day,
Yeah.
even though we'd love to.
So
And
I
we'd love
think,
to hear from them.
and I think so if we wrap it up into one thing,
Hmm.
I just think the one thing for me, anyway, I'd love to hear yours, is it goes back to, the feedback of how is it for you?
Mm.
How is your life experience? Like, how is your feeling in this moment? Like, if you weren't telling yourself a story about something, but you were truly checking in with what's true for you, then what? right? So it's like paying attention to what's true for you, and only you know that, right? Like the world be damned, right? Like regardless of
Mm,
expectation or what you're hearing or something,
mm,
but like checking in with yourself, what's true for you and trusting that. How about you?
mm. I want to give an assignment
Ooh,
because that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling the coachy in me is having a hard time not being coachy right now.
I love it. Let's hear it. Do it.
Stop, reflect, consider, and listen.
Mm,
So, 4 things I want them to do: get a notebook
mm,
and a pen, carve out some time,
mm.
stop, reflect, consider, and listen.
And I'll add to that. So, like, what's an area of your life that you're feeling a less than energetic about? Is it an area of your health that you feel frustration or tiredness or friction? You're just feeling friction in your life. Pick one area and one thing and hone in on it and just do as Samantha said, is like, okay, stop and like
Mhm.
reflect, like benchmark what's going on here? Like what is it? And noticing the stories that you're telling yourself around these things, and are they serving you? And if you up leveled or if you expanded that, as you said, what could you consider? What new possibilities could you consider that you hadn't
Mhm.
considered before? The limited mind had you in like, oh, I just have to do this thing, or these things are, I've always done it this way. Well, what if you didn't always do it that way? What would possibility allow for to be present if you let go of that old
Mm,
story?
that's beautiful. That's
And
beautiful.
stop,
There's
reflect,
the homework.
consider, and then act.
Stop, reflect, consider, and listen.
Listen, and then act or enact.
And then,
Love it.
ooh, and then act.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Right on, right on. Well,
Hey,
a
Ladybird.
beautiful year, my dear.
What a beautiful year we had together.
I am
Wasn't it
delighted.
fun?
And with our listeners, it's been great to like go out on these little events and journeys that we've bumped into, our listeners here and there and getting their reflections. So just so honored to be on this journey with you and with all of you that are listening to this. We hope you've had a insightful, a growth year, something that maybe in this podcast or the other ones that you've listened to from us has inspired or nudged you or dung your little bell and like, hey, I want to do that. I want to pay attention to something more, that inner compass more this next year. How about you?
I definitely want to hear more feedback from people. We do get some
Yeah.
good feedback and it's freaking awesome. Literally, some of the stuff that we get is tremendous. And I love that. And I just want more of that. Like, I want to have a greater understanding for people that are listening. What are they experiencing? How have we shared their journey? And how can they share their journey more with us? What can that look like? We want
Mhm.
to know, because this is what we're investing in, is
Mhm.
in the humans who are listening and doing the work. Those are our
Yeah.
people.
So we totally invite you to reach out to us either through our website, everydayawesomeproject.com, or
Mhm.
on our social media, Everyday Awesome Project, on all the platforms. Just touch us. Let us know something that made a difference for you or something that you'd like to hear from, or just like, hey, you guys are doing great, or whatever it is. We love that feedback. We appreciate it. So,
All right, let's
um,
wrap it up.
yes, my dear, what would you like to remind them as we've done in every episode this year? And I can't wait for year 5 and 10 and all of these, but that's our recap for
I
today.
know people should have this tattooed on their arm by now. Shouldn't they?
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
yeah,
how your life feels is more important than how it looks.
yeah. And every day is your opportunity to find your awesome.
Okay.
Yay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.